This is like take 100 of me trying to vlog. I'm not doing this again. I keep starting and then like an animal makes a sound, or I just spaced out on what the hell I was talking about, and here I am. And I guess that's very apropos to like what's going on as to why I'm out here on a kayak on a Wednesday. Like, I don't go kayaking on Wednesdays. I don't usually do like big, not that this is a big trip, but like something like this on a work day. But my head is so scattered. I'm super, super scattered. I'm more anxious than I have been in a very, very, very long time. Like, I actually don't even feel 100% comfortable right now in the water. I don't know why. Like, I come here all the time, and there's not even like there's waves or anything. It's a pleasant day. It's not too hot. I should be enjoying this, and I just have so much in my space. So part of this vlog is just venting, I guess, as usual. Not venting, sharing, whatever. But this 1 year out thing, that's what's screwing with me. It's so screwing with me. The 1 year, like, what did I do 1 year ago today? What did I do 1 year ago yesterday? It's this weird window between, like, you know, okay, July 9th was my first day of diagnosis. That was that was when I was diagnosed. To like my surgery, my double mastectomy was in August 20th. So I've had like 3 weeks of processing. Okay, it's been a year since I've known that I had breast cancer, and now I have another 3 more weeks to say, like, you know, yay, cancer free, whatever. I don't know how you get that like stamp. Does my oncologist say that? I have no idea. I didn't meet my oncologist until after my surgery. I'm glad I don't even know that date, what the appointment was, because it's just another like number. I know the date I was diagnosed. I know the date of my surgery. And the rest, I don't want to look up. I don't want to look back at vlogs, like none of that. But my head is just super, super scattered. And I feel like my head is thinking about all this stuff from a year ago, just because a lot of stuff is popping up right now. Like one thing for work, like we just finished our fiscal year. So I'm like tying up stuff with like, you know, putting the receipts away and the paperwork away and all this stuff and closing up the fiscal year. And, you know, every receipt has a date on it, and there's activity, and it's like, oh yeah, we did this on this date and bought this on this date, and like, oh, was I at work that day, or was I at the doctor? Like, you know, small things. Like I don't perseverate on it, but I just noticed these like incremental things. Like right now I'm noticing that I'm facing the exact opposite direction than when I started this vlog, and I have no idea how I turned, because I'm not even rowing or pedaling. I don't understand. There's so much in my head right now, and I really am going to make this short, because I just want to like sit and chill and have some control by paddling. But I realized that the nice fancy ass green kayak, because it's shorter than most other kayaks, it's harder to steer. I can't speak. It's harder to steer. It just seems to like move much more quickly instead of just like staying the route that it was going. But yeah, all these dates and events and things are popping up, and I guess there's more anniversaries than what I even remember. There's I don't know if I must have vlogged about it. It's maybe not that day, but I was thinking about like when I came back to work, like another big day, November 15th, I'm pretty sure was the day that I came back. I originally was supposed to take off 6 weeks of work after the surgery, which is like, 6 weeks. I wasn't ready to do anything at the 6 week mark. I'm like, how do people do that? Oh my. Anyway, I took 12 weeks. And I went back in mid-November. So I was basically out. Well, I was out for 12 weeks. Duh. See, I'm being spazzy. I don't really know. There's too much in my head, and I don't like it. I need to clear my head. And I just think of like, in November, I think it was right before I went back to work. They had a party that they have like for Like, they have this party every year. But for the party, I won a Bedford TV award for my show, For Neighbors to Know. Or actually, I shouldn't say that. It was for me, actually. It was the first time I ever won an award for, like, the show. I won Best Solo Host. And that was pretty cool, because it was, like, me. It wasn't necessarily the show. And it makes me sad that, like, I haven't filmed in all that time, because a main part is my head's, like, all over the place, and I can't, I mean, you've seen my vlogs. I can't really keep a story straight to interview somebody new. Like, I can do math things really well because they're, like, ingrained in my head, but I'm not in a space to interview anyone right now, and I wouldn't put my best foot forward, which is why I'm not doing it right now. I will, but not right now. But I remember going to that party and, like, being afraid that people were gonna, like, touch me or bang into me, and, you know, would it hurt? And I wore this dress. I don't know if there's a picture of it somewhere. I don't really know. If you Google Bedford TV and Google Neighbors to Know, you'll probably see my picture. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I wore this dress, the dress that I wore to my 40th birthday party, and it fit, which was, like, awesome. I'm pretty sure I didn't wear a bra because I don't think I really had one, but it was the first time I, like, took the ladies out, not out, but took them out, like, in a dress where it was a V-neck dress, and I was worried about people seeing my scars, so I had, like, a shawl thing that went over it, and there was one picture. It was funny because there was one picture where I took this shawl off, and it was just like a V-neck dress. But I've never, and they took pictures, but I've never seen those pictures, and I wonder if my scars were showing, and maybe that's why. I don't know. But for me, like, I just needed to do that. Anyway, I guess I compared that somehow to, like, the Runway for Recovery coming up in October, because, like, you know, you're getting all dressed up and you're going up on a stage, and it's, you know, sort of kind of not really similar. I don't know. There's just so much in my space, and I guess, yeah, this is the, if you know, you know. I haven't felt like my brain was flooded in a really, really long time. And I feel like there's 100,000 thoughts that are, like, way deep inside my head, that the Jen after cancer that was like, you know, little things aren't important, and you just focus on the big things, and, like, everything is good, and we'll figure stuff out. Like, that Jen is trying to, like, push down all the little, like, things that are going on in my head right now, and my head almost feels, like, thick and heavy because that, like, internal battle is going on. I'm not sleeping that great again. It's almost like a lot is triggering. And I mean, I think it's pretty clear, I would think, for anyone that has a cancer diagnosis or anything big that you would have some sort of, like, PTSD, that you don't even realize, like, how things are affecting you. And right now, the things that are affecting me are just based on time. The time between diagnosis and surgery. Like, after that, I feel like things got better, you know, because the cancer was out. I wore that dress. You know, I had the treatments, which changed things, but, like, you know, I was improving every day, I guess. And at this point, a year ago, it was just, like, getting all my ducks in a row, and maybe that's why I'm here, getting all my ducks in a row of, like, what the hell was going to happen, and the shock of the lessons that I learned through the whole process. One interesting thing that I'm battling with is, you know, I've talked so much about relationships. I don't mean, like, you know, like boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. That's not what I mean. I mean just, like, with people in general, and how you are with people. A lot of people don't know how to, like, even communicate or socialize anymore because of the pandemic. So I guess I can blame some stuff on that. But I am in a situation right now where someone who is very close to me, but was not really there. I think I talked to her once on the phone since I had cancer. And she's one of those people that should have, like, you know, called or sent a card or whatever. She called, like, literally once. But it's somebody very, very, like, important in my life, and she's having a hard time, and I go back to, I hate to say old Jen, but, like, you know, caring Jen that's not angry at the world. Well, I may be angry at the world, and I might be angry at her, and I love her too, which sounds, I know, weird, though I'm sure many of you can get it, where I feel like I need to, like, stop my life to help her, but in doing that, it wouldn't be the best psychological thing for me, mental health wise. It would not be the greatest thing to do, and physically too, because she's not close by, and I would need to drive pretty far to go see her. Not enough, like, that I would fly someplace, because that just wouldn't work, but it's funny, because it's the first time in the first situation where I'm like, I feel obligated to do something. And before, I'm like, I don't feel obligated to do anything. You know, no one's going to tell me what to do. If I don't want to do it, I'm just not going to do it. And then it's like the angel and the devil. Not really devil, but, you know, the person who's looking out for me. The waves are looking really weird. It's making me nervous. See, this is what I mean. It could just be wind. And I'm like, why do the waves look like this? They're not even really waves. I feel weird. I even talked to the nutritionist, and I'm like, is it something that I'm not eating? Like, you know, I don't get it. Like, I just feel really weird. But I'm not really being kind enough to myself in a healthy way to just digest that the next 3 weeks are going to be kind of weird. Until that August 20th date's over, and maybe something magical at that point will happen. But yeah, so it's weird to, you know, all the lessons that you learn through this whole process, and then when so much time has gone by, you know, do you just, like, go back to being who you were before? And, oh, by the way, I just happen to have, like, breast implants now and scars and whatever, but you go back to being the person that you were before. You know, like, for me, I'm 50, so I have 49 years of lessons that I've learned, but the most life-changing ones were in the past year. So it's like those 49 years are battling with the 1 year. And like who are you? Like, you know, who do you become? And, like, you know, what part of you do you focus on to stay that way? There's just so many moving factors. And I wish I could just, like, not think about it and move on, but my head is not allowing me to do that. And I mean, you have control of your thoughts to a certain extent, but right now I feel like there's, like, some internal battle happening in my head, and it's making my head feel heavy, and it's making me not enjoy the little things. It's making me eat cheese danishes. It's just not helping the fact that my weight is, like, what? Yeah, I don't know. It's a really weird time. And I was looking back, I don't know if I already said this, but, like, this was a, like, super PTSD. Oh my God, I cried a couple days ago, harder than I have cried probably since a year ago. I did 2 vlogs. They were up on YouTube. One had, like, 60 views, and I deleted it. Well, I deleted both of them. Because I was talking about stuff that wasn't, like, directly related to breast cancer, but it kind of is. You know, people don't, like, obviously not everyone, like, is on Lupron injections, and not everyone does the Zamida infusions, whatever. But, you know, I talk about stuff with, like, you know, my uterus or anyone's uterus and your ovaries and the role that those play in the whole breast cancer process. You would think that they're not related, but they actually are. And I had a biopsy last week? It must have been last week. And I got, maybe this is what's triggering it. Because as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, well, sure as hell that should be triggering. I think it was, like, on a Thursday. Or I got it, no. Oh, okay. Here's why. Problem solved. This is why I vlog, period. Because I don't even catch these things. I don't even catch these things. So I went for an appointment. Again, something questionable popped up. And then, not the next day, but 7:30 a.m. the following day, I get a phone call that says, you need to get yourself in here. We have to do a biopsy. So, yeah, talk about like a year ago today is when I found out I had cancer. So I'm like, okay, so what, now it's a year later, and like I just happened to be going for all these appointments because like a year's passed, and what, do I have some other kind of cancer now too? Like, what the fuck? So, so I went in, I had the biopsy done. I did a great vlog about meditations, but I deleted it. I'll share my meditations at some point. It was weird. I was sitting through a guided meditation while I was having the biopsy done. That's another story for a different day. But anyway, so that happened, I think, on like Thursday, and I didn't hear anything after. So I'm like, okay, no news is good news, because the cancer thing I heard like on next day, like on Friday at 5:30 or whatever the hell time it was. And one of the things she said to me was about having biopsies more frequently, just to like check and make sure things are okay, so that I don't have to get like the phone call and waiting for the results, and, you know, like take that process and just make it shorter. And I'm like, I don't want to have a biopsy if I don't need to have a biopsy. Like, who would do that? But I totally get it now, because that whole process of, you go to the doctor, you know, you go to the doctor, you get a call, something's up, you go in for a biopsy, you wait, see what's going on, you see your results in the gateway, it's in like mumbo jumbo language lands from the doctors, and I'm like, I don't know what this means. So like where I am right now in the process, you know, got a phone call 7:30 a.m. yesterday, can't even remember, and the nurse said, she left voicemail, because I didn't get to the phone on time. And she said something about not leaving a message on my machine, that they want me to call the office. And I'm like, well, if it's something that's not a big deal, they just say, you're benign, you're all good to go. The fact that they couldn't leave a message was concerning. Yeah, really concerning. So I called back, of course, the whole day. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm like living with my AirPods in my ears. There's people I have to move away from. Like waiting for them to call back. And she explained in like doctorese what was going on. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, what's the follow-up? And she's like, we'll come back in a year. And I'm like, what you're explaining to me makes no sense to tie that together with come back in a year. Because like, if this is something that's precancerous, like I just let it sit there and like grow and have a party for a year. Like, what the hell? So I said I want the doctor to call me. Like, that is a snot. Just like, her voice is very calming for me. I know what I need, and glad I advocated for myself that like I need to talk to her, because I need her to like explain this more. And the nurse said too, like, you know, she can't explain it any better than what she was. You know, like obviously the doctor's the best person to have a conversation with. So I'm waiting for the doctor to call, and like it's the next day. She didn't call yesterday, and she's not calling today. So I feel like, well, no news is good news. If she was that concerned, she would have called me. But here I am just waiting. And maybe that's what it is. I have these revelations like as I vlog. Granted, it took me like 4 times to vlog until I get to this point. But that's what it is. It's the waiting. Like last year, it's July 9th, I found out that I had breast cancer. And then it was, and when I saw the breast surgeon, she's, you know, and I said to her, when's surgery? And she's like, 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks? Like, how do I put all this, my life together like this to be ready in 2 weeks? But then because I hated the first plastic surgeon I met with, it was longer than that, which was fine. Like, it wasn't a, you know, I mean, I was stage 1, so, anyway, that scared me too, because she said something and she said it's grade 1, and I lost my shit on the phone, and I started bawling to the point I couldn't even talk. Because when you have your tumor, like when you have cancer, you don't know what stage you are. And there's one takeaway: when you find out someone has cancer, don't say, "Oh, what stage are you?" Because they don't even know yet. It takes a while to get an oncologist, just because it's not the first route. You know, if for me, like, I had to have surgery, and then I didn't get my oncologist until after the surgery. But they give you grades, and my tumor was like 3.5 centimeters, and they said it was a grade 2. Grades and stages aren't like super linked together. The grade is just one part of like this big doctor formula. You plug all this stuff in, and that like boop, then you pop out with like what stage you are. So there's several things to go into the whole process of calculating out what stage you are. But the first like number I heard was that my tumor was a grade 2, and from my understanding, it's based on size. If it's, I think, less than 2 millimeters, it's a stage or grade 1. So when the nurse was talking to me about what's going on in my other organs, she said something about grade 1, and I lost it. And I'm like, I don't want to be graded again. I'm like, and she, I'm like, I need to talk to the doctor, because you don't tell me I have something that's graded and then say, oh yeah, come back in a year. I'm not comfortable with that. I have to understand this better. So I guess there's a lot of things as to why I'm having just a lot in my head right now. It's not just based on this, because I truly think like everything's going to be fine. My doctor's fantastic, and if something were really wrong, like, she'd get me in there right away. But yeah, they give you a grade. And even when I went to the runway for recovery thing, like, I hear these stories from these women who have had chemo and radiation, and they're like these awful stories, and I feel like I didn't have cancer as bad because I didn't need chemo or radiation. Where, like, you know, I have to not think that way about, like, you know, rating someone's cancer journey versus another, because there's so many different aspects. But when we were like talking about what size our tumors were, I mean, literally every woman that I talked to there said, like, they were talking about how they found it, and they all were like, I found a lump this way, and I found a lump that way. And I'm like, I had no lump. And like, I was at the gynecologist for my annual exam, and she felt around and there was no lump. And literally, like, not even 2 weeks later is when I find out that I have this grade 2 tumor that's been growing for quite some time. They said probably 1.5 years, and the tumor was 3.4 centimeters. And then, like, I had another smaller one that was like, I think 0.5 centimeter, that was closer to my nipple. And when they talk about it as a whole, because they were both on my right breast, they count it as like one big region. So like when you look at my chart and stuff, it says something like the areas combined were 5 centimeters. And centimeters seem so small, but when you're talking about like tumors and your boob, like 5 centimeters is fucking big. And to have that and not feel a lump, like, I didn't feel a lump. The doctors didn't feel a lump. There was no lump, and they're like, you know, sometimes you don't feel a lump. Crazy. Ugh. All right. I am going to wind this up because I am nervous that my phone's going to pop out of this little thingy and go flying into the water, and I don't want that to happen. And I need to just like sit in silence. Yeah, I just need to sit in silence. I've never been kayaking on a weekday. So it means a lot when I'm out kayaking on a weekday. Yeah. So there's just a lot in my space about the year out thing. And I'm hoping something magical happens in the next 3 weeks. what do I give my foob a birthday party? The funny thing is, like, he's going to be doing surgery on my left boob, so I feel like, I wonder if he might even replace it. Like, I don't know. Remember when if you're new to, you wouldn't remember, but I dropped my phone on my boob, like, not that long after surgery, and I swear that I indented it with my phone. And they're like, you can't do that. I have a pretty strong case on my phone, and I'm like, I don't know, because it just doesn't, it never looked the same after that. So I wonder when he goes to, like, to fix things on my left side, if he's gonna just like, let's just, like, take the whole implant out and put a new one in, like a new fresh one, who knows, one that didn't have a phone fall on it. Even though I'm sure that it's fine. I don't know. Just a lot. Identity, trying to figure out who you are, not going back to unhealthy ways of being. And now I understand why she said, maybe we should do the biopsy every year, because at least then you go in, you just have it done. And the grand scheme of things, it's like it's a day. The biopsy is a very short procedure. Are you in pain? Yeah, but it's not like horrendous. I didn't cramp at all this time. I don't know why. I guess I should be happy, but I didn't cramp like at all. Not, I should say at all, but like extremely minimally. That it was the pain of the cutting and the acid and stuff that they put up there. That's what bothered me. But it was short, so I understand now why she was trying to protect me, saying, let's just do this every year, whether or not, like regardless of what the tests show, let's just do this to start off. That way you don't have to, like, bounce back and forth. Because I realize how much it actually does impact you. This whole process of, like, phone calls and messages and waiting to hear and not understanding, like, test results and seeing test results before the doctor's call, and your mind just goes like, rah! It's just a lot. I didn't feel like doing gratitude. I don't feel like doing gratitude. I just want to sit in quiet. So, if you are, a year out and that's why you're watching this, just be kind to yourself and know that, I'm always saying this to myself, know that, there could be a whole bunch of, like, PTSD, like, triggers that you don't even realize are happening in your head, but they are. And just, be forgiving with yourself until the time passes that you don't think anymore about it being a year out. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go paddle now. That's it. Happy Wednesday. If today's Wednesday, and if not, happy whatever day. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you always, like, for your support, for, people that comment and stuff. It just means so much to me. And I'm glad that I can be here for anybody else who's going through stuff. So if you are, hang in there. You're not alone. Bye.